That's what we got from the Rebbe.
This is the bottle.
The Washka had been added a bit.
Some potatoes.
But the bottle I got.
Potatoes.
But the salt Pesach, I hope it wasn't in the Jews. Okay, fine.
I think, in fact, I just took it out.
I try a little bit.
You know that
It's too much. No, that's too much. Enough.
Would you like a little tiny bit?
You could sell it for an eBay. No.
L'chaim, l'chaim. The Rebbe Rashab once described the moich and the godless of his uncle. There was a fire in the house. In a shtetl, a fire, you know. That was it. So they came and they woke him up and they said, there was a fire, all the Sforim, everything was saved in the house, but that's it, you can't save the house. They woke him up. He said, they saved everything. He said, yes, everything is saved, but you have to get up because it's soon the fire is going to be in this side of the house and it's over. He said, now how long do you think the fire will get to this side of the house? He said, 10 minutes. Please wake me up in 8 minutes. He went back to sleep and they woke him up 8 minutes later. So whenever they heard the story, I didn't think that, you know, you go into the dormitory with Bochum, you know. They can't machen. But apparently, this was a responsible person. He wasn't a puffer. The house was lost. He was able to fall asleep. So the Meforshim say, V'hiyah, and the Haftorah that we had this past week, Parsha, V'hiyah losam agaga, terem yishkovim. Terem yishkovim. That Rochav came to talk to the two spies, terem yishkovim. So the Meforshim say, terem yishkovim. Yeah, could you imagine? You were sent now by the Mossad to Tehran. They found out that you're Jewish and you're a spy, and you're spying now for the Mossad on the most important mission. You are now have in your hands the keys to ruin their whole nuclear plant. And they know exactly where you're staying. You're staying in a hotel. The Arab who owns the hotel happens to like the Jews. He takes you to the roof. Over there's a couple of pishton hanging out there. Do you think you're going to fall asleep that night? They fell asleep because they had an incredible bitochen in the Eibishter. So if you think about this, look about the juiciest and tiefste pilpulim in Maseches Vochim and Menoches and in all sugyas and shas and the Rebbe's notebooks. The Rebbe wrote, you have the entries, Vichy, Nizza, Lisbon, Poshet, Paris, under the Nazis, under the nose of the Nazis. When the Rebbetzin, said that we're Orthodox, and the Rebbe was upset that they thought they're not Jewish. The Nazis now don't know I'm Jewish. Chas v'shom, they think I'm the Orthodox, Russian Orthodox. He went to the Nazis, and said, no, I'm Jewish. Under their nose, when they know he's Jewish, and the Rebbe did not know the danger. It's remarkable, in the Kuntas the Rebbe gave out 25 years ago, so the Rebbe didn't write it. Chassid wrote up a short history, but I'm sure if anything was blatantly not true, why would the Rebbe distribute this Kuntas? He had a friend who was a general, a high-ranking general in the French army. He gave the Rebbe papers, documents that he's drafted in the army. So when the Rebbe walked in the street to a young man, so he would show he's in the army. Don't worry, the Nazis are coming. They're going. I'm going to protect you in my house. I have a villa outside Paris. You don't know the Nazis. The Rebbe told him. I'm not staying here. The Rebbe managed to get out with the Rebbetzin, one of the last trains out of Paris. But it's not that the Rebbe didn't know what the danger was. But it's as if the stories that are being told, the Dvar Toides, the Rebbe went from, there was, Yidden B'nai Toida in Paris. I mean, this wasn't Warsaw, this wasn't Vilna, but there were Frume Yidden there. And Dafka under the Nazis, the Rebbe made a point to go around and to legendary the stories that they told about the Rebbe, but it's as if nothing happened. As if, on the one hand, the Rebbe knew quite well who the Nazis were, and he desperately tried to get away. Desperately tried away before the Nazis even came into Paris. That was the interesting thing. The Rebbe felt it was not safe, and he tried to, before even the Frierdiker Rebbe the Rebbe tried to get out, and he thought it would be very simple because he's an electrical engineer. So it would be. It turned out because they put in so then it made the Rebbe's case for immigration very complicated. Because later they had great connections in the administration, in the White House, and they got the Frierdiker Rebbe, this big rabbis, grand rabbi. But then they wanted to get the Rebbe out, and they said, wait a minute, this guy's not a rabbi we're talking about. He's an electrical engineer, and he's Jewish, so we're not interested in Jews again. So that was very, very complicated. But the Rebbe wanted to get out before the Nazis ever stepped into Paris and felt the danger. And the other hand,
What year was this?
this was the Rebbe got out in 1942. In 1939, he applied to come to the United States of America. 3 years, but the State Department wasn't interested in letting Jews coming in here. And when the Frierdiker Rebbe finally had top connections, he said, "This is a grand rabbi. This is going to be my right hand." They said, "You're hacking at your right hand. He's an electrical engineer, and he's Jewish. We're not interested." The Rebbe at the end, the Rebbe wrote, I guess he didn't want for censorship. He wrote a letter to the Frierdiker Rebbe that they should change his file from the American embassy in Nizza to the American embassy in Marseille. And apparently, it turned out later that Rebbe knew what he was doing. That after the war, it turned out that this guy in Nizza, the American consul, was a big anti-Semite. It turns out nothing went through. No Jews ever, very or hardly any Jews managed to get through. And the one in Marseille was Oyev Yisrael, and that a lot of Jews were able to, any Jewish cases that came to his desk went through. So eventually the Rebbe got out. And one of the stories that are also told in this little booklet that the Rebbe gave out for Chuf Sivon is that they finally, when they got permission to go through Spain and they got into Portugal, and they had tickets on a boat, and they got a telegram from the Frierdiker Rebbe they shouldn't go, and they didn't go. And Taka, that boat was captured by the Italians and brought back to Europe. And the Rebbe managed to get on. Mamish, it was mamish, the end. The last boats got out of Europe. The Rebbe managed to get out of Europe. And this is the day he landed in the United States of America. And it's interesting that the Rebbe, in his first the Frierdiker Rebbe requested the Rebbe should Farbrengen, and the Rebbe did Farbrengen. And the Rebbe explained why the Frierdiker Rebbe didn't say Hagoimo until he came home. When he had his Chagagula, until he came home. Why didn't he say it in Kasterama? The Rebbe said the whole thing, Api Alochad, you have to be Chozel Leburya, Chozel Leisonei, otherwise you can't say the Baruch of Hagoimo. So, just to point out, a lot of Chassidish Chatzerus. So the day that Rebbe was saved from the Nazis, it was the day they were saved, not the day he arrived to the United States of America. Why is it Lubavitch that the Rebbe, the day for him, the day, so maybe that's the day he got to his Rebbe, that's why it was, but Pashtus, the Alpinigla, the day was significant because that was the day he was safe, as long as he was, even though he was in territorial waters that were United States of America, but Apidin, Chozel Leisona is when, it docked in the United States of America, New York, and he got off the boat. But versteht sich halt Pneumius is that because this is the day that Rebbe came to the United States and took over his position in leadership. That's the day. That's why Chuf Sivon is a big day. Going back, it's just remarkable. But this is not just Tzadik V'Leir. If you look at the Rebbe and the stories of the 3 years to get plucked, and he's trying to get out of Europe even before the Nazis came, and he felt it, and especially under the Nazis, Yamach Shemam. And you see Machberes full of Chidushei Torah, and the Chmaisa Chesed that he did to save other Yidden. when he put himself out on risk to go to a train station every day with a Yiddish face,
I think he went to Marsov.
matzah, with a little of esrog. But just what's remarkable is the way that Rebbe did it. It was as if nothing happened. And you see it in the Chiddushei Torah. Why do you see it the most to me in the Chiddushei Torah? Because a person could jump off a roof, but you can't be machadish and write Shev Shmaitasa, right? Or say write the whole sefer Shev Shmaitasa while you know that there's a bullseye on you from the Nazis. Yimach Shemam. And here you see the inner calmness that the Rebbe had, as if the world was turning upside down, and the Rebbe knew quite good and well. And still, the Rebbe went around and spoke to, and Dafka spoke, and he wrote the notes of what he spoke to in Botem Medroshim, to be mechazik, that be mechazik in the Torah mitzvahs. From the Ikri, the Chiddushei Torah, the Rebbe was mechadish, under the gun. So, as if, why? Because there was an inner calmness, because there was a Amunah and Bitochen. Just like the Kolev and Yeshua were able to sleep on the roof of Rochav, when they were under the gun, and just like the Razor was able to sleep for another 8 minutes when the house was burning down, the Rebbe was able to write Moilidike Chiddushei Torah mamish under the nose of the Nazis. Half of a fella. We know a lot of Yidden that had Mesiras Nefesh, Achmal Islam, they with great courage, and other Yidden that were in the camps, they kept Torah mitzvahs. But the Rebbe wrote a machbere shleima with tifah chidushei Torah. Tifah chidushei Torah. He probably didn't have Svarim here there to grab, and I would imagine he didn't have the click of a button with the oitzer chachma. Stam zich, he didn't have that. And he's quoting the modest Tosfos and Rishonim with the calmness, with this calmness. Why was it this calmness? Because of Amunah and Bitochen. And this you can't fake. This you can't fake. You can't fake. So therefore, this is the day that we take encouragement from the Rebbe, and this is the day really to start Achonis. This is the day that we start Achonis for Gimel Tammuz. It's 22 years, and it's as we said before, 22 years is a very significant number, because that Yosef said about his father, Maru, come quickly, bring my father here, because I know he can't bear the pain anymore. A separation of 22 years. There's something about 22 years that the separation is too painful. So the Mela, we have to make Achonis. The Eibusha should help. At this time, Gimel Tammuz should be the miracle of Shemesh Begiven Doim. We should see Begolui, Nisim, Benifloas, that Mashiach Tzidkenu should come. So we should make Achonis for this big day. We should start with a Krishma Shalamita, Chassidus Krishma Shalamita, with a Chassidus Davenen, with a learning of a little bit of Chassidus. We should make Achonis. The Eibusha should help before we even go to oil, that we should have the good news that Hine Mashiach Bo. L'chaim l'chaim. So over there in Parshas Koirach, this is the thing in Parshas Koirach, that the Baal Shem Tov had gesagt that sometimes there comes a big neshama in the world, and the Sitra Achre says, I quit. You put this neshama in this world, I quit. I walk out the office. There's no contest now, so I'm out. So the Rebbeinu Shalom, until Mashiach comes, the guy that we're going to have to keep him in business. Otherwise, there's everything falls apart. So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, you know what? We're going to send in the world another neshama, something really special, and he's going to be a big Talmid Chacham, and he'll make a big machloikis against the tzaddik, and many people will be on one side, and people will be on the other side, and And that's it. And that'll solve the problem.
That was clear.
That was Koyach, exactly. You know the story, there was once a Rav in Nebuch, a young Rav came to town, and the older Rav couldn't handle everything, so he requested, the Kehillah brought in the young Rav, and but he had a family, Mishpocha, and he couldn't live on what the Kehillah was giving him, so he goes to the older Rav, he says, what should I do? You know what, let's make a big machloikis between me and you. We'll have balabatim with you, there'll be balabatim with me, and they'll pay the bachen geld. Unfortunately, we see it true all over the place. So the Eibusha says, you know what? We have to make the business work. We give we'll send them another neshama. It'll be a big Talmud Chochem, and then when a person feels, it said the Baal Shem Tov, sometimes you see big Talmidei Chachamim, and they're nimshach with koyrach. And then you see Poshta Yidden, and they love Moshe Rabbeinu. Why is it? Because their neshama is clearly, they feel how their neshama is the toes and the hands of the nishma of Moshe Rabbeinu. So therefore, that the Gemara says in Shabbos, Kman derochim labonon, havli penin, or he himself will be a tzuvah merabonon. So the Baal Shem Tov says the pshat is because he feels he's really an aver of the rabbonon. He's an aver of the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Chidush Sherim, Taich Shtois, is brought in the Sefer and Kesef Shem Tov in the bottom, that the Baal Shem Tov was really talking about himself, that before the Neshama Baal Shem Tov came down the world, there was a big Kittug, and therefore they said, we'll send down other Neshama, it'll be a big Talmud Chochem, it'll be like Koyrach against Moshe Rabbeinu, will make a rebellion. So this way, this would appease the Sod. Mamela, we see that even in this story of Chaf Sivon, that there was over 3 years there was so many chances for the Rebbe to come out, and there was another thing that happened, another thing that happened. The Sultan was working overtime, but at the end he didn't win. He lost. At the end he lost. So also now the Sultan sometimes works overtime, but ultimately he's going to lose. So the Alter Rebbe writes that with a tzaddik, that the Zohar HaKodesh says that that everything that goes to his Talmidim, so after his Hilula, his Yatim B'chayai is more than his lifetime. And the Alter Rebbe writes one thing that's interesting. He says, Kol Hamshocha B'Kedusha is al Yedei Av. That all the Hamshochas of Kedusha is through love. It's an interesting thing. It reminds you of this Gemara that the Baal Shem Tov says, Man derochim l'Rabbanon. That those that like the Rabbanon. There's something that through the Ava that the Chassidim have to Tzaddik, that's like the glue that connects, that's an incredible connection. So for sure there's incredible Ava from Chassidim, and the Chassidim are already yearning to be with the Rebbe. The Eibush is all helpful that there should be man derochim l'Rabbanon, like the Gemara says, there should be. So we should take it. We should be zoiche take this Gimel Tamos, that we should be with the Rebbe. We should hear sichos of Farbrengen from the Rebbe. L'chaim, l'chaim.
One child from Levi Brzezinski, Shliach in Germany. The Shliach in the city where his grandfather was.
Yeah.
So he wrote.
That grandfather, that had the 2 tickets on the boat, and he couldn't get out of Europe, so he gave the tickets to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe's in Nebuch. His grandfather ended up in Auschwitz, and his wife.
Whose grandfather?
The Shliach in Hamburg, who his brother learned by us in the Smicha. No, he'll tell. Shmuel will tell the story.
He wrote it very nice. Somebody else wrote the Torah is the best is the Torah. So now we have 22 letters, the Rebbe 23 years. So the Torah is complete, like we talked about.
Okay.
The base God. Okay. Continue with a lot of people talking like that.
L'chaim, we machen alle gute Achonis, and the Iker is jeder Achonis, nicht der Achonis. So lang in a wenig. The Eibush is left on the hearts, Taka, the Hamshochas, Kedusha goes through Ava. We should feel the Ava. We should be Kamayim upon him. L'chaim.
I saw that the Farbrengen and Marsov there many years ago. The Rabbi said that Moshe Rabbeinu daven for Klal Yisrael. What happened to Ger and Bnei Gerach? Why daven for them? Why didn't for them? So they said when somebody is Chelek and Ger and Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't have the time to save, right? So they magia them, they want to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe circled the whole thing and said, take it out and burn it. You shouldn't have a minute that Moshe Rabbeinu cannot save even the... That's our man. Even people that fail can you still save it.
I about a nice story about Zisman. You know Zisman that comes here?
Yes.
His younger brother, labeled Zisman. So they said that he used to have with the Shutuf, they used to give Maisa every month to the Rebbe. Sof Chodesh they made a cheshbon and he would bring it to Benjamin Klein. One Chodesh, there was the FBI swooped in on their business and there was an investigation. So they figured they might lose their pants. So for Vosnish, they'll give let's give the Maisa this month, the beginning of the Chodesh. So Kachavi brought it to label to Benjamin. Benjamin said, "What happened? You came early." So he told them that they're under investigation, but he shouldn't tell the Rebbe unless the Rebbe asks. So Kachavi came to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe asked why are they early. So the Rebbe said, it's nothing. At Hamnatzloche. He said that for no reason the investigation stopped, and that was the best chodesh he had in business in his life. He never had before after such a good chodesh.